Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend. I'm Jason Godbey and we're back talking about some streaming series. Joining me via Zoom, she is the host of Made with Jackie Hanzl and Homebodies Only. It's Jackie Hanzl. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here. Glad to be
It's
back.
you took the summer off from No Rest for the Weekend.
Right.
We haven't seen you in a minute, but you've been doing other stuff.
Yeah. Yes, I have.
So, you were doing Homebodies Only. What shows have you guys been covering?
We finally finished Sex Lives of College Girls. Talking about that. We got behind. We've been doing And Just Like That, just talking about the fashion because that is very important. We will be starting up Hard Knocks on HBO. They're featuring the Buffalo Bills because mostly my co-host Diana Johnson is from Buffalo, huge Bills fan. She is part of the Bills Mafia. She is the best person to have talking about this. I am not, not really a football person, but actually started watching last year. I started watching the Bills a bit and kind of got into it. I'm still quite clueless. So it'll be fun that, we have the expert and then we have me, not the expert. I cheerleaded for football for 4 years in high school, and still, I hate to sound like a typical cheerleader. We'd be like, wait, can we do first and 10? Like, I'm not, if we'd had a cheer that went first and 10, do it again. Like, it was bad. I understand touchdowns. I mean, I understand what's going on, that they're moving. Anyway, I'm a baseball fan. But that's why I kind of started watching football in the fall because I missed watching baseball. And I really do like watching live sports because nothing's live anymore, right? So, and I would text with my friends about the game, and then so I started doing that with the football, with the Bills games, and it was fun.
What's the first show you want to talk about?
Too Much, streaming on Netflix. It was created by Lena Dunham and her husband from Girls, and her husband Louis Felber. It's also from the producers of Notting Hill. So Jessica is the main character. She's played by, I'm going to say her name. I don't want to say her name wrong. Megan Stalter, I believe is how you say it. Stalter, Megan Stalter. And she is like at the beginning, she's living in New York. She moves to London. She has a bad, bad breakup. She gets a job opportunity to leave, and she comes from like her sister is very depressed. Lena Dunham is in it, plays her sister. Sister's very depressed after her breakup from her husband. Her mom is played by it's Rita Wilson, right? Sorry, Tom Hanks's wife. So she's in it. Um, Rhea Perlman is in it, plays the grandmother. Uh, and Jessica is a bit obsessed with like British romance movies and things like that. So she's excited to go. It's interesting. It is a comedy. It's romance. There's also some drama in there. She does this Dear Diary type of thing. Not exactly Bridget Jones, but she talks to her ex's current fiance, and she makes recordings. She does not send them to her, but she's like, Dear Wendy, and the girl's name is Wendy Jones. So she's like, Dear Wendy Jones. And she talks all about like what she's going through. And Wendy Jones is a model and an influencer. So she sees everything online that's happening with her and the ex. She meets a guy, I think in like one of the first episodes, a musician, Felix Remen, and he was in White Lotus season 2. I had no idea he was British because I'll be honest, in White Lotus season 2, I felt like he did play like a stiff character, but I thought he was kind of a bad actor, like very, very stiff. But I wonder if like it had something to do with him trying to do the American accent. He did a great American accent because in this, he's totally different. Like he's totally different. Plays the musician well. And I'm trying to, I had a good line here. Basically, oh, she also has a dog named Astrid. And it's played by a dog named Mia, who actually recently had a Vogue shoot. So this dog is getting famous. She's a Chinese crested dog. So she's one of those like hairless dogs. I don't know if you, I had to look up the name of this dog, but you see these dogs. They have no hair. The tongue hangs out to the side. She's got a little bit of hair like off her head, kind of the adorable homely but adorable, one of those dogs. And she dresses her in like clothes and stuff. And I just I love Astrid. And oh no, Naomi Watts is in it also. Sorry, she's in it. I didn't finish the season yet, but I will say Megan Stalter is such a great actress. She was in Hacks. She her face, she's also does stand-up comedy and just her expression and it's so she plays so good with like awkward and it's definitely there's some funny lines that have made me laugh out loud. There has also been some edgy stuff that I'm like there's just to me, a lot of word vomit that I feel like in possibly real life you would not be saying some of these things that these people are saying. So maybe it's a little unrealistic, but probably thinking. But it's it makes me uncomfortable, but not too much. Haha, like the name of the show. So I am enjoying it. I definitely am enjoying it. She's a great actress and she's really captivating.
It sounds like your cup of tea. I don't know if it's mine, but
I don't know
it
either.
definitely sounds like a very Jackie show. We have so I have another Netflix show that's very very different. Couldn't be more different from your show. So, are you familiar with the graphic novels, the Sandman series at all?
No.
Okay, so it's a fantasy type show. It's based on books by Neil Gaiman. He wrote a series of graphic novels for this character. Just to preface, Neil Gaiman, if you Google him, great writer, allegedly not a great guy. So if people feel uncomfortable by that and they don't want to patronize by watching the show, I totally get it. I read some of the books and was kind of fascinated by it. So season one is about the character of the Sandman, aka Dream, aka Lord Morpheus, and he's a member of something called the Endless, which is all these different sort of aspects of life personified in these sort of mystical godlike people. The first season, when we meet Morpheus, he has been imprisoned by this rich lord, and after 100 years of being imprisoned, he escapes and has to reclaim his kingdom and all of his stuff that was stolen, and go sort of retrace his steps and become himself again. And over the course of the show, he sort of grows a bit and evolves, which is kind of interesting for a guy who's been around this long to have a character arc. And then in season two, and this season concerns a lot of his siblings. So he's called Dream of the Endless, and his siblings, he's got a sister called Death, and then he has a genderly ambiguous sibling called Desire. Then there's a sister called Despair, a brother called Destiny, a sister called Deliria, and a brother called Destruction. And Destruction has been missing for years. And at one point, they go seek him. The story from the first episode begins with Lucifer Morningstar, aka the Lord of Hell, played by Gwendolyn Christie, who you may know from Game of Thrones. Lucifer decides to abdicate responsibility and give up the realm of hell, and kind of leaves Morpheus to deal with it. He's like, okay, this is yours now, buddy. And all of the demons and everybody vacates, so he's got to deal with that. There's also a plot about Morpheus's long lost love, who he had banished to hell for centuries. And then there's also a plot with his son. His son is Orpheus, and I don't know if you're a Greek mythology person, but Orpheus and Eurydice is a very famous Greek myth. So we kind of see a take on that. There's fairies, there's Shakespeare, characters like Titania and Puck, and the Norse gods like Thor and Odin and Loki are there. And it's all real, like it's all like part of this whole mythos kind of thing. And it's crazy weird. It's a really weird show, and people who know the books will probably see it as sort of a condensed version or like a Cliff Notes version of the books. You can still get it if you just watch it, but if you're watching it and you're not kind of like really open-minded to some stuff, you're gonna like, oh my, that is like, okay, so one of the plots, right, deals with Morpheus having long conversations with a disembodied head, where the head is off its body and talking to him. So that's just one of the weird things that happens. There's gods and demons and all kinds of crazy stuff. And there's a talking dog. There's a talking bird. It also kind of sort of involves like DC Comics characters because it was produced by an offshoot of DC. If you read the books, you're going to look for John Constantine, who actually is, I think they pronounce it Constantine because everything's very British in this world. That character had his own movie where Keanu Reeves played him, but that was totally not like the comics because the guy is British and supposed to look like Sting. He doesn't look like Keanu Reeves. And in this, the part of John Constantine is now Joanna Constantine. So they flipped the gender on it. And there's a couple of other roles that are gender flipped, but it doesn't really make any difference because these people aren't real anyway, and they're mythical beings. So, like, if you're a fanboy of the books and you're like, why did they make it a black woman instead? It's like
Right.
just roll with it, buddy.
Yeah.
But like, there is a very different sort of pacing to the show. Like, one of the things about and the guy who plays Morpheus is terrific. And he looks just like he stepped out of the comic book. Like, they couldn't have cast this dude like better. Sort of a tall, thin, young version of the singer from The Cure is kind of how he's based on. Like the black hair and the whole thing, pale skin and real skinny and stuff. He looks like a rock star. So like goth kids are going to love this one, really. He does this thing when he talks where everything is like super slow in a way. Like he's got this British voice and he talks very slowly with everything. And you're just like, spit it out, man. Come on.
A little dramatic?
How
Or
long is this show? Like, come on.
maybe they cut his lines a lot, so he's like, let me drag this out.
But it fits the thing. That's the thing that's
It
weird.
works.
Is like
Okay.
it actually works. It fits the show, fits the character. But for like a New Yorker, you're like
Hurry
looking
up.
for the button on the podcast where it makes everything 1.5 times
Yes.
speed. but he's
Can't.
great, and it really worked. And they commit to the bit, and everybody is fantastic in it. The brothers and sisters, the endless siblings, are all very interestingly played and very intriguing. But you should definitely watch season 1. Don't jump right into season 2. If you jump into this, you won't know what the hell's going on. Like you're gonna have to. You need some background, and
Right.
if you like graphic novels, these happen to be very wordy graphic novels.
Mm,
They're not action comics. They're
right.
very it's just a novel with pictures basically. But it's really interesting, and the mythology thing is great, and the history thing is great. It's a lot of fun, but I don't think it's going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Is it it's not for kids? Is it
Oh
mature?
no, no,
Okay.
I wouldn't have children.
Okay.
I mean, in the
I didn't
first
think so, but
I mean, I guess it depends on how old your kid is and
right.
because like there are some sort of like horror elements in it in a way.
Hmm.
Like he's Dream of the Endless. He creates nightmares.
Mm.
There's this one character who's a serial killer called the Corinthian in the first season, and he's like this sort of blonde, good-looking guy, but he's got like he doesn't have like eyes, and his eyelids are like teeth, and and he removes people's eyeballs. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, you don't see it
Right.
really, but there are some elements. There's some scenes that are just like, oh yeah, I'm not showing my kid this.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it's
And
definitely for grown-ups.
my son loves horror stuff. He always has. He's 10 now, and he's watched Stranger Things. I always I hate to, I more monitor for adult content more than the scary because I don't know, he likes that type of stuff. But I don't think I would have him see this.
I think there is some adult stuff in it.
Adult
I don't.
themes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really well done, and I know it costs Netflix a lot of money. It is a really expensive looking show.
I was gonna say I like all the elements, how you said there's Shakespeare, there's the God and mythology stuff, and also sounds like biblical, Corinthian. Yeah, so that's cool.
It's take mythology, put it into a blender, and you get this show.
Okay.
And with some new made up mythology as well,
Right.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is one episode that does have sex in it, at
Okay.
least that I
Yeah.
can remember.
He's not
Okay.
gonna be watching it.
All right. Yeah. Maybe let him grow up a little before this one. All right, so which show do you want to talk about next?
I got next on my list the Hard Knocks training camp with the Buffalo Bills. And it's streaming on HBO. I believe there will be 5 episodes. Already went into that I'm a football newbie, but I think what's interesting about the Bills from what I've learned is really it's their culture there. And you go there when people say bye, they say go Bills. That's what I've been told. So we have to sign off on the podcast, go Bills. I've been already directed that. It's just so interesting to me. There's just so much heart in it. They just really love their team. Josh Allen is the quarterback. I don't know how you couldn't know who he was. I feel like, I mean, everybody knows who Travis Kelce is because of Taylor Swift, but Josh Allen is probably second or so to him because people just know him. He's like the golden boy. He seems very nice. He's a great player. And he just married Haley Steinfeld, so we got that going too. I also they're building a new stadium, and so we get to see that in the first episode where that's at. Um, they also they do their training camp at is it John Fisher College? And apparently there's just 5 teams total that have their training camps at a college. So I thought that was kind of cool. They can slum it a little, I guess, in dorms, but it's interesting to me. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not so much into football, but they do it well. Like you said, it gives you chills. They play the right music, the scene, the voice of the narrator, it really sucks you in. They tell little nice, heartfelt stories about the players. So I'm into it.
One thing I noticed about this series is that so far, usually the training camp deals with you have the rookies that come in, and then there's the process of cutting people. Like there's a cutoff where they have to get down to the 54 or 53 man roster, and they don't seem to be doing that at this point. It seems like they're already there, and they're just gearing up for preseason games. So I don't know. I don't know what that decision was about.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. They were still filming. I'm confused because I mean, obviously they're releasing episodes week to week, and there's been 2, and I believe there's going to be a total of 5. Because my co-host was in Buffalo last week for the preseason, like the first game they played against the Giants. And she sent me video. She said Hard Knocks is filming. So I'm like, they're still filming? They didn't. So I thought that was interesting.
That's the way they capture it. They go week to week, and they put it together incredibly fast.
That's crazy.
So
Well,
they just had a game, and then that's what we saw them on this past week. On I think it comes out on Wednesdays. We saw the
Tuesday.
Giants. We saw the Giants and Bills game. I don't even know how that's possible. Like I don't even know how they're able to put a show together that quick. It's pretty incredible.
They obviously have a huge editing production team or super people because I was actually texting with my friend about it. I was like, wait, they're putting it out. I'm like, I know how hard editing is. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm one person. Yeah. So yeah, I was shocked. I was like, what? Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Last year they did the in-season thing, and they've done that
Oh,
where they're following a football team. That last year they did it was like a division. It was like the one of the football divisions of the AFC or the NFC. I think it was like the AFC Northwest or Northeast or something like that. And they were following like 4 different teams as they compete to try to get to the playoffs. So I mean, the show is popular. We're probably going to get another season of another version of this later this year. As they follow, they'll probably do an in season as well. But yeah, it's just really solid, really strong documentary filmmaking, and they make it look easy, which is I know it's not. Like as somebody who's
yeah,
made documentaries, I know how hard this is, and
yeah,
it's like they make it look incredibly and it's so polished. Like it looks fantastic. The stories are always good. I mean, I don't care about football at all. I
right,
don't have a team.
right.
But like I still watch because it's interesting storytelling and it's really um, entertaining. One of my favorite shows, speaking of documentary series, One of my favorite shows in the world is back. Light and Magic on Disney Plus. This is season 2. Did not know there was going to be a season 2. Don't remember any. Saw zero advertising. I didn't see so much as like a social media post about this season. So I don't know if you've seen the show, but this is the story of the famous effects company Industrial Light and Magic, started by George Lucas for Star Wars back in 1975, 76. First season, it talks about the origin story of the company and all these amazing legendary films that they worked on. I mean, they started with Star Wars in 1977, then they went to Indiana Jones, and then later they did like Terminator 2, Jurassic Park. Every big film, Back to the Future, like every big film franchise, E.T., like all these things were ILM effects. These guys are just like this group of geniuses who are all legends now. Like you say, if you say these names in filmmaking circles, it's like the Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio, and like they're like legends of the game kind of thing. We got through the 70s, 80s, and 90s last year. Now we're going into the 2000s, and it's starting again with the Star Wars prequels because they worked on those as well. And it talks a lot about like going from practical to digital effects, blending the two together, which I thought was really interesting. My favorite parts of season 1 are when they're doing the practical stuff. Like when you're seeing the miniatures, when you're seeing them do practical puppet work, and when they make the house in Poltergeist implode and stuff like that. And
Mm,
they show you how they did that practically with like models and,
right.
machinery and stuff. I think that's so cool. Clicking a mouse is just not as fun or as cool,
No, yeah.
but surprisingly enough, if you look at episode 1 and episode 2, there is a lot of practical work. There's like big models and things like that. I don't know if are you a Star Wars fan? Are you a Star Wars person?
The originals. Yeah, when I was little, I watched them. I mean, I haven't watched them in a long time now. But I had Star Wars toys, and I was all into that. Yeah, I was a big I liked Luke Skywalker as opposed to Han Solo. I feel like now I like Han Solo better. My taste changed.
It's funny, like, I grew up as a kid who wanted to be Luke Skywalker, and that was like, I, I was obsessed with Star Wars. Talking about like the 2000s, they're talking about the kids who grew up with the prequels, and
Yeah,
like that's like their Star Wars.
yeah.
And people our age were like, this is horrible, it ruined my childhood. Like there was so much hatred and vitriol about the prequels. And okay, if you're familiar with the prequels, you know the character Jar Jar Binks, which was this completely digital character. Lots of controversy. He was a big, stupid, goofy character, and some people like hated him. Like just like a lot of the hatred for the Star Wars prequels is directed at Jar Jar Binks. Well, in this series, they talked to Ahmed Best, the actor who was the mocap actor for him, and they kind of talk about what he had to endure going through the process of like not only creating this character that's completely digital, so like you're doing all this work and you're never seen on screen, but the interviews and stuff that he had to do about it after critics really didn't like him. And then like there was like this all of these reviews that were like this character's horrible, and like they like and he took it personally, and he tells a story about like he almost jumped off a bridge.
Oh man.
He was so distraught about this. And so it really does put a human face on it. And, I don't know, maybe people should be nicer on the internet. But the other thing
Hmm.
it does is like it really shows the evolution of movie technology, with just your huge movie nerd like I am, you will love. Another thing that it talks about is George Lucas. George Lucas is one of the greatest innovators of cinema he's probably the greatest innovator of cinema in the 20th century and in the current century. There's so many things because of him and ILM that we have today that we never would have had. We have digital cinema cameras because of him. We have digital editing because of him. VFX, the state of VFX is because he spent his money, researching and developing these computer techniques. Pixar came out of ILM. It was a division. The reason it's called Pixar is because that was the first computer that they used that could do computer animation. One of the guys, John Knoll from ILM, he's the inventor of Photoshop. He and his brother invented Photoshop. And like,
Wow.
yeah, so like like you don't think about it, but it's incredibly ubiquitous. Like how much, like you and I could not do what we do if
Right.
it weren't for these things. So when next time people are like yelling at George about the prequels, just remember that, you know,
Yeah.
you're able to do that online on video because of George Lucas.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we should wrap up there. That sounds about right to me. But for people who want to know you, find your shows, where can they find you online?
Well, of course, we can go to btrpmedia.com, but you can find me there. You can find us there. Also, homebodiesonly.com. Made with Jackie Hanzl. I don't have a website for, but I have a YouTube channel and also all audio podcast platforms. I also have a TikTok account for Homebodies Only, and Instagram, Homebodies Only as well.
For those of you out there who want more No Rest for the Weekend content, you can go to no rest for the weekend podcast.com. That's where we actually write stories, and you can find movie release news, movie reviews, etc. And you can subscribe on the YouTubes, youtube.com/Get Behind the Rabbit. I'd like to thank my friend Jackie for stopping by and lending us her insight on some shows. She'll be back to do it again soon. And for all of us here at BTRP Media, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This is the BTRP Media Network.